4th and goal from the 10. Jones looks, flushed, rolling, looking, throwing. It is caught! Touchdown Tigers!
We're talking about a great play. Quarterback rolls out from the rush, catches a guy in the back of the end zone.
You're tuned in to The Greg Ruffin Show, your weekly look inside Edward Waters football. The Greg Ruffin Show is brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of Edward Waters Athletics. Under Armour, official outfitter of the Tigers. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far. UF Health Jacksonville, proud sports medicine partner of Tiger Athletics. The City of Jacksonville, and Edward Waters College. To find out how you can become a Tiger, log on to www.ewc.edu. Now, along with head coach Greg Ruffin, here is the voice of the Tigers, Joshua Jackson.
Tigers give a solid fourth quarter effort, but it comes up 2 points short in their season opener as Edward Waters drops their opener to St. Andrews by a final score of 15-13. Welcome into this week's edition of the Greg Ruffin Show. Coach, a solid effort by your football team, especially in that second half, defensively and offensively. Comes up just short, but you've got to be proud of the effort that they gave on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the effort was great. Guys did a good job of following. We fell behind and we fought back from a 15-0 deficit. Of course, I think the first half we gave up two big pass plays that ended in touchdowns. One with a touchdown, one set up a touchdown. But just to see the effort and just the resiliency that they showed in the second half, it speaks volumes about a team that's freshman dominated.
And you talk about the crowd. Last week's episode, you talked about really wanting the crowd to be out there. How about that crowd on Saturday night? Just an electric atmosphere there at University Christian, and it really spurred you on, especially in that second half.
Oh yeah, I think the guys felt the energy of the crowd. To come out and see standing room only in our first game and our. If we call it the beginning of a new day here at Edward Waters College in terms of what we're trying to do football-wise and get this thing, right the ship and get it back on track. I thought the guys, they responded well to the energy they received from the crowd, and we just hope we can just duplicate that this coming Friday.
Well, then we'll take our first time out. When we come back, we'll have first half highlights of Edward Waters and St. Andrews as you're watching the Greg Ruffin Show.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank. And his father drank before he met your grandmother. This is the Pepsi for this model and his mom. Hi, Cindy. Oh, hi, Brittany. Have you met Uncle Drew? This is the Pepsi that's back from the future and back for one last ride. This is the first Pepsi on the moon.
What? No.
Fine. This is the Pepsi for moonwalkers. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
So how do you make it? There's Natasha's way. Be shy, focus on yourself, until they focus on you. Then there's Dennis. Work with what you got to get what you don't. Or you could be like me. Dream of pro football, get hurt, dream over. So how did I get here? By being the hardest worker in the room. How are you gonna get here?
From day one, we always came through for our customers. It's how we earned your trust. Until we lost it. Today, we're renewing our commitment to you, fixing what went wrong and ending product sales goals for branch bankers, so we can focus on your satisfaction. It's a new day at Wells Fargo, but it's a lot like our first day. Wells Fargo, established 1852, re-established 2018.
Welcome back to the Greg Ruffin Show. Coach, the first half of Saturday's contest, there's going to be some nerves from this young football team, but again, that electricity that they had going into the game definitely helped them out to trying to be able to get to this first half.
Well, the first quarter was scoreless, so I thought, we fought very, very hard the first quarter. Defensively, we did a great job stopping the option, the first quarter. Just came down the second quarter. We gave up 15 points in one quarter. I mean, if you look at it statistically wise, if you take that second quarter away, maybe we're on a different end of this thing for as the outcome is concerned. But, we gave up 2 long passes, blew 2 coverages, like I said, which resulted in 12 points. Later on, they got a field goal, but I mean, it's a tale of two halves, quintessentially in terms of how we was able to respond.
We'll take a look at first half highlights right here on the Greg Ruffin Show.
Back to pass is Ferguson. Ferguson flushed. He's hit and brought down in the backfield. Aaron Luis. A long drive for the Knights extends after that fourth down conversion for St. Andrews. Ferguson. A pitch, and he's hit and brought down in the backfield. Alfrederick Tyson. The senior cornerback from DeSoto High School down in Arcadia, Florida. Ferguson takes the high snap, handoff to the back. Tigers have that strung out and trying to break a tackle. He will not. Jalon Neal coming in to make the stop. Jalon Neal and Gianni Narcisse combine on the stop. A big loss on the play makes it 3rd down and 11. 3rd down and long for the Knights from the 47-yard line. Otto in the pistol. Looking. Throwing, it is caught at the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown St. Andrews. Long for the Tigers after the penalty at the 24-yard line. Delayed draw, Corey Hammond spinning out of a tackle to the cross to 30, still on his feet. Finally brought down at the 36-yard line. Solid gain there on 2nd and long to make it 3rd down and a manageable 5 for Edward Waters.
That was Strange coming up making the stop. I think Strange was mirroring the quarterback into the...
Here's the snap to Jones. Jones flush. Jones gonna run. Steps inside and he slipped on the field turf. 1st and 10 from the 35. Ferguson end around. Going over to the far side now with room to the 40. Midfield 45-40, 35-30. 25, still on his feet to the 20, to the 15, and slipped it around the 16-yard line.
Coach, those are the first half highlights. Just a situation where there's some nerves you think going on from the young guys trying to do too much, and got down to that early first half whole 15.
Well, I just think that I think the pace of play they kind of dictated it, defensively wise, and we every time we had a big play, we got a penalty here, and it kind of thwarted some drives during and especially. In particular in the second quarter, we had a headbutt, 15-yard penalty. We were sitting at 3rd and 7, and now we jump off sides. Now we're looking at 3rd and 12, and we just had too many instances of that in the second quarter as we were trying to get something going. Which spurred me to just turn around and say, I wanted to see what we could get out of another quarterback. We missed a couple of throws that were wide open, one away from the concept side, went backside, overthrew the guy. So I just thought, as we went into the third quarter, coming out of the second quarter, that number 5 was going to give us some renewed energy, and having 8 freshman quarterbacks, it was just good to see, Lil Jones come in and do some of the things he did, which spilled over in the second half and really got us going.
Glenn, we'll take another time out. When we come back, we'll come back with second half highlights right here on the Greg Ruffin Show.
This is Norman Miller. Last year, he had a heart attack and received 2 life-saving stents. This is Dominic Angiolillo. At UF Health, his research predicts how patients will respond to medicines after surgery. Dominic is a big reason Norman's less likely to have another heart attack, even if he never knows it. And it's invisible connections like these that help us move medicine forward with every patient we serve.
Welcome back to the Greg Ruffin Show. Coach, what was your message to the team coming out of the halftime locker room? Because we really saw a different football team on Saturday evening.
Well, I just told them at the end of the day, I just felt like, we beat ourselves in terms of giving up those 2 passes. I don't think necessarily is, what they had done to us in terms of us just breaking down and missing 2 assignments and, them blowing the hole wide open. I just told them 0-0. Our issues 15-0 has been self-inflicted. Well, I didn't think it was anything that they were doing that we hadn't stopped and couldn't stop, and it shows. They got most of the yards on those two big plays. Other than that, you're looking at it from a yardage perspective, and without us getting some penalties, we either up by 15 to 30 yards, or we're right there even with those guys.
Enjoy second half highlights right here on the Greg Ruffin Show.
Otto. Decker right behind him. Pitch. Tigers have that one hemmed in, and now Frederick Tyson brings him down. And off Pelham again. Pelham on his feet. Pelham to the 50. Pelham to the 45. Pelham 40. Pelham 35-40. Pelham 25-20. Pelham 15. And he'll be cut down at around the 17-yard line. Jonquez Pelham, a huge gain, and it sends the crowd into a frenzy. Have to come here in the fourth quarter. They trail 15-0. As we start the fourth quarter of play from Jacksonville, a 3rd down and long for Edward Waters as the ball is backed up to the 28-yard line. Jones takes the shotgun snap. Screen far side. Catch made. That is Tyler Gilbert. Gilbert stepping outside of the 9 for Edward Waters from around the 18, 17-yard line.
All of these routes should go in toward the end zone.
Jones takes the snap. Back to pass. He has got room. He's going to throw. Catch made. Did he get it in? Touchdown Tigers.
True Patriot.
4th and goal from the 10. Jones looks, flushed, rolling, looking, throwing. It is caught. Touchdown Tigers.
We're talking about a great play. Quarterback rolls out from the rush, catches a guy in the back of the end zone.
Jones throwing, it is incomplete as he was looking for Richard Montgomery.
Coach, 15-13, the final score. Edward Waters falls in the season opener again. A great effort by your football team, especially in that second half, able to pitch a shutout. You talked about the quarterback change from Rashard Branch to Noodle Jones, and you're hoping that's something that can buoy into this week's game against Lindsey Wolves.
Yeah, I think what happens, when you examine it, Jones, he gives us the ability when things break down. He has an innate ability to be able to keep plays alive with his feet. And he's a kid. You look at both of those touchdown throws. He scrambled out one, hit the guy on the left, scrambled out one, stepped up, and hit Tyler over on the right corner of the end zone. So with a young line that's trying to gel together, I think having a guy that can keep plays alive when things break down, that gives us an added advantage in terms of being able to still not be so pressed in terms of trying to put scores on the board, because with him having dual threat capabilities, it's going to allow us to be able to be successful moving forward. And also we get Landon Washington back, who's missed most of camp. So, we're still in a good position at the QB position. We just got to limit our mistakes, in particular up front. I don't think we played well up front on the offensive line. We saw various breakdowns and protection and things of that nature. But like I said, You know, with the Jones kid having the ability to be able to spin out, scramble, keep some things moving, I think he gives us a great opportunity to win going forward. And like I said, we're still, you know, we're anxious to see what Landon Washington has as well, because he missed all of camp due to shoulder soreness.
And on the defensive side of the ball, you've got to be proud of their effort. They held St. Andrews again scoreless. They held them 3 of 13 on third down. So again, Coach Lewis's defense really played well, despite those 2 big plays they gave up in the first half. They really settled in and played the football. So.
They did, and when you look at some of the individual effort by those kids, I mean, you talk about, you know, Aaron Lewis from Miami Northwestern, 13 tackles, 1.5 tackles. 4 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. I mean, he's a freshman, you know, and you're looking at the statistics. You know, our freshmen were all over in terms of offensive wise. The same thing, you know, quarterback's a freshman. The 2 guys that caught the touchdown passes, Noble and Gilbert, freshmen. You know, we bring in Jaquez Pelham to start the second half. He leads us in rushing, freshman. You get what I'm saying? So we're littered with freshmen in a lot of key spots, and I think what you saw in particular Saturday is we recruited a lot of guys that came from winning programs. I mean, there was 2 state championships at Miami Northwestern. The 2 young men were Reed and West that started defensive tackle from Baker County, who lost in the state championship game. You know, so it's so many instances of that when you look at the success level that we had with the young guys, they're used to winning. So they're going to fight to the end because they're used to winning, and it showed. But defensively, you know, you look at like I said, Aaron Louise, Jeremiah Johnson, Gianni Narcisse, you know, Sid Lewis. You know, we had some guys make some plays, and you know, to the tune of that we had 2.5 to 3 sacks. You know, Gavin stepped up, made some plays. Gavin Anderson. So, you know, we got something to build on. At the end of the day, you know, we talk about how we judge this thing with the total remake over of this whole deal, what we have here. And I kept saying is, you know, the true barometer when you measure a football team, lose big, lose close. Win close, win big. You know, so we started out with losing close. It speaks volumes about where we can go, you know, and what the future is about this football program going forward.
Well, Glenn, we'll take our final timeout. When we come back, we'll get you set for this week's contest this Friday evening against the Blue Raiders of Lindsey Wilson College. You're watching The Greg Ruffin Show.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank. And his father drank before he met your grandmother. This is the Pepsi for this model and his mom. Hi, Cindy. Oh, hi, Brittany. Have you met Uncle Drew? This is the Pepsi that's back from the future and back for one last ride. This is the first Pepsi on the moon.
What? No.
Fine. This is the Pepsi for moonwalkers. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
So how do you make it? There's Natasha's way. Be shy, focus on yourself, until they focus on you. Then there's Dennis. Work with what you got to get what you don't. Or you could be like me. Dream of pro football, get hurt, dream over. So how did I get here? By being the hardest worker in the room. How are you gonna get here?
Welcome back to the Greg Ruffin Show, our final segment. Coach, it's a big contest coming up this Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. a kick. Get it here at home at University Christian Stadium. You welcome the number 5 ranked team in the country and the Blue Raiders of Lindsey Wilson College. Looking at Lindsey Wilson on film, they're big, they're tough, they're very fundamentally sound, and they really earned that number 5 ranking. They've been one of the perennially very good football teams in NAIA football.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Chris started that program up 9 years ago, Coach Oliver, and he took his lumps for his first 3 years, and he just started to get awfully competitive, and you know they've won their side of the conference 4 years of running, and been a participant in the national playoffs in NAIA. I think one of the things that will give us a good challenge is we get to see a conventional offense this week. Haven't seen the option last week, so it gives us another segment to see in terms of us being able to test our mettle, just watching the team run zone, throw the ball around a little bit, and see, you know, where we are. Last week it put us in a vacuum and, you know, put us in a situation where we were just about 80% totally isolated on stopping the run and things of that nature, which the wing T throws at you. But I'm kind of excited. We got some kids going to run in the secondary. We get Christian Hayes back this week, of course, who served a 1-game suspension last week. Playing on the corner. So I think beefing up our secondary. Javonte Wade, he's cleared now. So we'll have some more guys in the secondary that can give us that added depth. And I tell you what, the kid stepped in last week. Brandon Mercer, true freshman, stepped in and did a yeoman's job at corner. As soon as he went in, they threw at him, and he made a great play in the end zone. So we got kids getting better. So we're gonna get after them, and I'm sure it'll be a good test for us and a great quality opponent. But we wouldn't have it any other way. We want to play against the best and see where we are at this juncture in our careers.
Coach, final part, I'll go ahead and leave it to you to get the fans out this Friday for this big contest against a nationally ranked team this Friday at University of Christian.
Hey, once again, the Tigers are up Friday night. We want that place to be packed again, standing room only, and we want you to bring that energy. This week, we're encouraging everybody to wear orange. We're going to orange this thing out, and it's going to be a special place because of the environment that you bring to the stadium and the culture that we're trying to develop here at Edward Waters College. Thank you guys, and we appreciate you guys coming out, and we'll see you this Friday. Go Tigers.
This Friday, Edward Waters and Lindsey Wilson at University Christian Stadium. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock p.m. If you can't make it, log on to mybcsn.net/EWC for the live broadcast. For head coach Greg Ruffin and for all those who make this broadcast possible, I'm Joshua Jackson. We'll talk to you again next week for another episode of the Greg Ruffin Show.